Hey guys, Dave here, and Chicken Dude. So if you have a broody hen, the first thing to decide is actually whether you want them to be broody or not. And they will actually stop laying when they get broody. So if you're happy to do without the eggs for a little while from that particular chicken, if you've got other chickens that lay eggs anyway, then you might be fine with it. You can let them be broody. But if not, then there's a couple of things that you can do. There's some methods to try and stop them actually being broody. The first thing, and probably the most important, is to remove the eggs on a daily basis. So that's not just from the nesting box from that particular hen. You would have to remove the eggs from all nesting boxes. Basically take away all temptation. So if there's other eggs from other hens lying around, then the broody hen will actually find them and just sit on them. So it's better to remove all eggs from the coop on a daily basis. Another method is actually to use cold water. Apparently if you cool the underside of a hen, there's less tendency for them to actually sit on any eggs. Obviously the underside needs to be warm to incubate the eggs, so if it's cold they tend to not actually sit on them. So you could use a cold water spray, basically just spray the underbelly of the chicken, and that should work. It may only be a temporary measure. If they're sat on eggs and you pick them up and spray them, they may get off, and then an hour or two later they may actually look to try and get back on them. So like I said, if you remove the eggs, hopefully that will take away that temptation. Another thing you could do is you could use sort of ice blankets. You can get them sometimes in picnic baskets, and you can lay them down in the nesting box, which will then stop them really from sitting in there. Again, another method probably would be actually to close up the chicken coop during the day. That might be a bit harsh, especially if the weather's not so good, but it will stop them going in there and looking to sort of brood. So if all else fails, another method that has been used might seem a bit severe, but you can actually put them into a pet cage or an enclosure without any bedding in there, so they won't have the tendency to sit down and brood. So you can do that and then let them out every day or two to see if they go back to the normal routine. If not, then you'd have to put them back in the cage again to see how they go on. But it's kind of trial and error kind of methods. You kind of try each one to see which one kind of works. Maybe try a combination of a few of them, and eventually the hen should go back to its normal routine. But it is Mother Nature in the wild. Chickens go broody. That's just the way things are. I personally prefer to just let them be broody. It's part of nature, and I actually want extra chicks anyway, so it works out fine for me. But if you don't, there's some methods that might help. Now if your hen is broody, there's a couple of things that you should know as well to actually provide them with some care, because they will just sit there all day and all night without moving. So you need to really keep an eye on them and make sure that they're okay, and make sure they're eating and drinking. So I'll go through that while I do with my hens, and hopefully that will help. So broody hens generally don't like to move, and they'll just sit there all day and night, and that's it. So basically you've got to make sure that they're eating and drinking. So here's my two girls. This is Dorothy and Hey Hey. They've been broody now for the past, I'd say, 10 days. So they haven't really moved much. So the first thing I do is just let them know that I'm here. And Dorothy normally gives me a bit of a growl, just to let me know that she knows that I'm here. And Hey Hey a bit more of a squeal. But then what we need to do is actually need to remove them from the nest. So once you first remove them from the nest, they seem a bit docile, seem a bit dazed. You can just let them come around themselves, or what I do is pick them up, give them a little bit of a cuddle, and before you know it, they will normally just hop off, there we go, back to life. And she'll scratch around there now and start looking to feed, scratching around, see if there's bits of food about. And yeah, it's important to do that, otherwise they just won't get off to do it at all. So, and, oh, hey Rocky, that's my rooster Rocky. He's come to see what's going on. We can see Dorothy now is actually just coming around a bit now. And there they are, Hey and Dorothy together, scratching around, fully awake now, and starting to feed. It's so important that they do this. Sometimes I will actually put a little bit of feed inside the coop for them, so they can just get a little bit of something to eat or to drink if they're in there. If it's bad weather, I'll just put something in the coop for them. But like I said, I would do this at least twice a day if you can do. If the weather's not completely awful, just get them out, get them to exercise for, you know, they have 3 stages that they have when they actually let them out. The first thing is they'll scratch around to feed like they're doing now, and then they'll go and get something to drink like Dorothy's doing here. So they'll have something to eat, they'll probably stop and have something to drink, and then what they normally do is give themselves a bit of a dust bath and stretch their legs. It's quite common to see them just running around chasing each other or playing with the other hens in the coop. And what I do is when they are actually out is try to candle the eggs. Now this is an important step to do because obviously you don't want any rotten or off eggs in there. So it's quite hard to see this actually during the day. So if you took like even a towel to put over your head to have a look, to try and make it a bit clearer. But this is important because you don't want the eggs to explode. If they're left there for, you know, for a long time, and they're not fertile, they can just go off and they can explode all over the coop, and that'll make a real mess and it will smell disgusting. So it's important to actually do this and get rid of any of the off eggs while they're actually out. And eventually, when it's all done, they'll just hop straight back in and actually just sit back on the eggs. All this is done in a relatively short time, normally about, between 20 and 30 minutes. Their routine is done, so something to eat, something to drink, quick dust bath and a run around, and they're back in there to sit on the eggs. Okay, so that's it guys. Thanks for watching and don't forget to subscribe. See you soon.